So where are you at? What's going through your head? Where do you feel your team is at right now?
Well, we're 0-2. That's the easy thing. We took a beating on the scoreboard twice. You try to put that behind yourself. The embarrassment from last night is still looming, but being around, talking to players, and having our meetings already brings things into reality that every day, every shift is a learning opportunity. So where are you at? The biggest thing is understand, for me, it's foundation, knowing who we are as a team, but before that, who are we as players? So when I have 10 freshmen in the lineup, that's a big calling. Anyone that's playing at the Division I level cannot play 10 starters that are all freshmen. They're green to learning how to play. And that was our idea. We wanted to make certain that we at least had one season underneath their belt against the NCAA competition, playing 5 exhibition games, so that it becomes a litmus test as far as our recruiting, and also gives a little bit of experience for next year when we got to bring in more freshmen. But when you're playing that young, you're going to take your bumps. You don't never want to, but I think through all mistakes, there's always answers and solutions. So that's what it's about for me, as far as where do you go from here, and put together not necessarily a game plan, but rebuild the trust and the confidence that I have in our players.
Okay, so I told you when I came in the room today that I said I thought you played a good period and a half, and then it looked to me like you got a little wore down. I don't know if that's the case or not, but you responded differently to that question, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I didn't think we played well at all. I thought that's 2 games in a row that we didn't play well at all. I thought we got away from our game last week. I was embarrassed by our presentation. We got to win out of it. It was a league game, but for us going in, we can't play that aggressive, heavy game in front of the net and also along the walls. Our game is up tempo, keep the puck in the middle of the rink. And I knew as soon as we started, we had insecurity on our back end. You have to take high risks. You have to build confidence. So when you can funnel pucks to the middle of the rink in your own zone, it allows more room for our forwards and then a lot more distance for opponents to structure their defense against us. And we didn't funnel anything as far as 2 passes into the middle of the rink on our exit. So we kept pucks along the boards. It was safe. I understood that it was going to be okay just to see how the game settled in. So to get away with a 1-0 lead in the first, I was actually pretty comfortable with it. But I wasn't happy with the way that we had played. And then when it comes into when you're playing a team that's far superior than you, the last thing you want to do is keep their special players on the ice. And anytime that you're taking stick penalties or undisciplined penalties, all it does is it accumulates a workload. Our workload wasn't accumulated because they had power play goals, so it didn't go the full 2 minutes.
Okay, so tell me about your goaltender. A freshman goaltender I thought was pretty solid last night.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was fantastic. 3 of the power play goals came right down the middle on deflections or screens. I thought not only was he making saves, but also the possession of where the pucks were going weren't making more work for us. He stopped one breakaway, and he didn't punch his clock and leave. He actually made an exit and a breakout pass. So the kid was sharp. I think overall, he was our best player in that game. I felt that maybe 3 other players might have played up to their ability, but overall I was very dissatisfied. When you talk about the amount of goals that were scored against us on our PK, our number 1 PKer has got to be our goaltender, and we can't blame any of those goals on him. So I'm very pleased with the way that Trent played.
Okay, so as you transition from a top ACHA D1 program to an NCAA Division I program, is the process what you thought it was going to be at this point?
As far as internally on the hockey side, yes. I was really impressed by the way that we were received and accepted by Denver. The humility of the coaching staff was unbelievable. The way they played, to actually see talent on the ice level from the bench does not compare to what you watch on film. The workload is everything that nobody sees. So the work away from the rink, that's where the workload is, and it becomes cumbersome. We recognize there's only 24 hours, but there's always something that needs to be done, and that's the process that we're in right now. So the program here is run as a student life program. So student life sports is everything internal as far as our coaching staff, and we have volunteer coaching staff that's passionate and committed to it. So, we do our own jobs. We stay in the road, and we make certain that in our weekly meetings that we understand what direction that everybody's going. And unless you accomplish your own task, you don't fall over and try to do somebody else's. So it's what people don't see away from the rink.
The success that you've had at the ACHA D1 level, obviously the national tournament going to be right here in your barn this year.
Yep.
How excited are you and how motivated are you to win that tournament?
Well, very, very motivated. That's a number one goal and task for my program, to win one game, which is always the last game of the season. To be a national champion is very difficult. For us, you've got to win four consecutive games, so there's an awful lot of attrition involved. You have to be lucky, the stars have to align, but the regular season for me is learning who can play at center stage, who can play on Broadway, who can play in those big moments, because the game really doesn't change at all. It's just the rewards become far greater. And then what happens is a lot of teams that you play during playoffs completely shut their team down and play counterpunch, play very defensive. They don't want to extend themselves, so it becomes challenging because teams that go into a shell and stack three in a shot lane and really don't come out and play is tough, because you dominate the game, but one mistake, one bad call, and then you're done for the season. So it's real easy to put defensive systems and schemes and move players around as checkers, and we understand that, but this is all about internal growth, not only as a program, but for our players in preparation for that championship game.
Okay, so late October in St. Louis in 2021, we know where you're at. What's left? What's left to accomplish to be at another level in October of 2022?
I have to mature as a coach. My staff has to mature as a coach. We have to make certain that the players understand that there is a process. Being able to communicate and talk to players is foremost before it comes into teaching. The nurturing of getting experience. These games are perfect for us because we are a dominant team in the ACHA, but there's a lot of players and a lot of programs that are a lot better than us. So internally, Monday to Thursday becomes our only competition and our challenge. Of course, both teams, we get the A game out of everybody that we play on the weekend. It's not to say that they're bad. Anybody can win those games. We never schedule any donkeys. The top 10 teams in the ACHA is extremely talented. But it's growth and learning and understanding that there is a process. Young players that we have now want things now. They want them early, and understanding that being persistent and also patient will pay off in the long run. So it's building a foundation, and as slow as it might take to increase the height of our foundation, it will provide a much deeper rudder during turbulent times.
I know you're concerned with your program and your program only, but it's unique in NCAA hockey right now. With you see what Rico Blasi's doing with the St. Thomas, taking a D3 school, turning it into a D1. You hear about Augustana breaking ground on the rink, and you hear Robert Morris trying to come back. The Alaska schools are now apparently back. Huntsville working on coming back. Does it give you encouragement to know that you're not really alone in this situation, that there's other teams and coaches that are making this move too?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think that fraternal order of hockey coaches is very tight. I think it's important that the more teams, coaches want it because it provides more opportunities not only for coaching but for players. Very rarely will you have a hockey program that is out of the red at the end of the season, so it comes into marketing. So for us at Lindenwood is a small school that we had the opportunity to be the number one marketing sport in St. Louis during the wintertime. And the closest thing to us at the Division I level would be Mizzou, which is 3 hours down the road, and then St. Louis U has their basketball program. So this is a big hockey town, and we really feel that we can capture that audience in support of our program.
Okay, final one for you. I talked to all the coaches in NCAA hockey, and they're convinced Lindenwood is going to be the next NCAA school. Other people have gone, yeah, well, I haven't heard an official announcement yet. What do you say to that?
Well, I think it's important that everybody understands it's a process. I mean, I have goals and aspirations, but the last thing I want to do is extend something that I can't promise. To find the money, finding the money is vitally important. To have a university behind us is vitally important. So we have the university behind us, but also it takes revenue to drive it. To be a flash in the pan, be one and out. I don't think there's a league or any program that has a long tenure and history of playing Division I wants to see people come and go. They want to make certain that it's proven that it's going to be stable. That's what I want. I want stability. Missouri is a show-me state. They want stability also. So there's also big movements that have to be made that are done on the athletic director side, along with the coaching side. So I just stay in my lane, and it's about finding the money and making certain that my program is prepared when the opportunity arises.
Well, the facility is beautiful. The hard work is definitely there. The community support appears to be there. And you know what? I think NCAA would be very thankful and very lucky to have a program like yours. So best of luck in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Geographically, St. Louis is positioned perfect. It's a small, big city. People want to see it first before they'll come patronize. So to have a team like Air Force come and play here in our barn, I'm just overwhelmed that Frank gave us this opportunity.
Well, as we speak, you got 3 left. You got Air Force today, and then a trip to the desert. I'm sure you're not going to complain about that in January, are you?
No, I probably won't. Although, as a coach, you don't vacation. You just stay in a hotel room. So they're all the same.
I hear you. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.